want us to move it?
Um, we tell him you got it.
Can you go in front?
Is she in the front?
She's walking to the door.
My name is Ken Todd. I'm Lisa Vanderpump's husband. I'm Jiggy's, the person that carries Jiggy, and I give a good shout out to Weho Sport.
Good evening and welcome to Weho Sports. My name is Raul Alonso and I'm your coach.
Well, good evening and welcome to Weho Sports. My name is Raul Alonso and I'm your host. Welcome La La Land, West Hollywood and around the world to another edition of Weho Sports. We got a very packed and exciting show for you. We're going to be talking about stuff that's happening now, like Manny Pacquiao and Nike being suspended the service with him and everything that he has to say about gay people. We're really going to let him have it. There's a few people that have come out against him and stuff, so we're going to touch on that. We're also going to talk about Black History Month with Michael Sam and Darren Young. So let's get into it and let's introduce our co-host. To my left, we have Jamal. How are you, sir?
Hi, I'm doing great. I'm glad to be back.
Thank you. And to my right, I have Mr. Omari Washington. How are you, sir?
I'm great. How's everybody doing? I'm feeling great. Ready to get this show on the road.
Fantastic. Talk about Black History Month. Let's talk about Michael Sam and Darren Young. So, what do you guys think about that?
Well, for those who don't know, Darren Young was a pro wrestler with the WWE who came out in 2013. He was one of the few people I've ever seen so far in any sort of sport that's being televised with some, with a, like a pro behind it that supported him. When he came out, the WWE and several other wrestlers were in complete support of him. While with, Michael Sam, who was a football player, didn't get a lot of support. Actually was traded off several times and was even, I think he's playing in Canada or somewhere around there.
He was playing in Canada.
The stats were ridiculous in college.
Yeah. And that's what we were so mad that when he decided to come out and he had won the MVP of college. And for him, he should have been drafted much sooner, and he wasn't drafted that soon. He was drafted almost towards the end, 200 and some, which was, to the last straw. And I think the Rams drafted because I'm assuming that they did believe in him and his playing abilities. But, I think it was too much of a weight for him. And I think he carried to Columbine and all of that stuff. So his performance wasn't the greatest.
I think there might have been a lot of behind the scenes talking that we just won't ever know about unless we have a one-on-one conversation with him ourselves, because there's no way that you go from being the MVP to nothing and being traded. Not that he's nothing, I don't mean that in any sense of the word, but I mean his stats fell down. I think there might have been a lot of discouragement from players, or maybe players made him feel uncomfortable or made him feel like he was in part of the team because he was gay. And that's what the problem is nowadays. He should be able to come out and there shouldn't be anything other than what does he play like now.
I feel like after he came out, it was more pressure on him because now he has to perform at this A-list level
Right.
with these
So
athletes
true.
who don't support him. So, you know, that adds more weight to his situation. So it could be a big burden on his career.
And I thought it was a big burden because Oprah was even behind him. Because when he got drafted, Oprah had a camera crew because they were supposed to do a special and they were supposed to follow him with San Luis. And they did for a few days. And then the San Luis organization said, well, wait a minute, that's too distracting for the whole team. We can't deal with that. So they kicked Oprah's team out with the whole thing. So, but originally that was the whole plan, that they were going to start doing like kind of documentary kind of type. But then I guess some of the players felt uncomfortable because cameras were all over the locker rooms and all the other stuff. And the Rams organization said no, but the Rams organization were the first ones to hire a black player back in the day. So they have been known for groundbreaking and stuff. So I thought he had a good shot.
There's definitely a cycle going on here because he also did sign with the Dallas Cowboys, and they
Right.
released him too, and that's when he went to the Canada League.
Right.
And that's what I'm saying. I don't think it's just like, oh, the burden of like, it's too many cameras and this and that. I honestly think that there was a lot of unknown conversations that made him play worse. That just completely just struck him down because it just does not add up.
Well, I think he had a lot of pressure, and then when he came out as gay, all the gay organizations were reaching out to him, and now you can be our spokesperson and all of this other
Right.
stuff. That's a lot of pressure to deal with.
I mean, President Obama even congratulated him and reached out, you know, so that should be enough support to carry you on a little bit more, you know?
Yeah, but that also adds pressure to it, though.
That's
Because
true.
when you have the president, how many of us will get the president to call us and tell us, you know, hey,
I
then,
mean,
then you feel like obligated to do better than what you were doing,
Right.
right? So, I
He
don't
could've
know.
I
used it
just
as
disagree.
motivation.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't agree with that adding pressure. Maybe a little, like, maybe he would get nerves of just, you know, I have to play a little better, I have to be better, but that doesn't mean his entire skill set would drop. All of his scoring, and wasn't he traded off during the training?
Right.
Yeah.
He didn't even get to play. So therefore, I'm telling you, there had to be some
Because-
sort of
and he
conversation.
went-
You know, there were a lot of coaches out there like Danji, which is very anti-gay, saying that a gay player will bring a lot of distractions into the locker room and
Right.
stuff, you know. And
For who?
and I mean, I have interviewed quite a few players, and they all seem to tell me that they would be okay having a gay football player in the
Right.
locker room, but they tell you that because you have the camera and you have the mic. So
Right.
they have to be politically correct with you, right?
Yep.
But then when you don't have that they're probably saying, screw you and all these other things. Because
Exactly.
I did it my own self. When I was playing professional, I was trained to cuss other people out and telling the F word and all of that stuff. And I used to tell my teammates, you're a bunch of fags. And I was the biggest fag in the team. But that was part of the training. It's something when you play professional that those subjects take a totally different role.
Right.
And people do not understand. It's part of the game. It's part of the culture. And,
Right.
But
and
this
it's
time
hard-
he's
So
on a
it's-
bigger platform
What
with,
I'm. Well, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go
with
ahead.
bigger responsibility. So I think it did a lot to his mental well-being, you know?
Yeah, because in Columbine, he didn't perform as well. He performed very bad in Columbine.
Well, he did. He said himself he didn't want to be there.
Yeah, because look, all of a sudden you come out and you got cameras from around the world
Right.
coming to see you. I mean, there has to be pressure there. You can't tell me that there's no pressure when you before you were okay in college because everybody knew it wasn't a big deal with all the college players. Now you're in the national spotlight. I'm saying national.
Right.
International, because you had all these cameras from all over the world watching what you were going to do because it was a groundbreaking thing.
Right. It was a groundbreaking thing, and it unfortunately didn't have a happy ending.
No, and,
Do you
and
guys think he folded under pressure?
I think to some extent he did.
I think there was pressure. I just don't think the cameras was as much. Maybe 30%. That might have been, but the
But behind
cameras
the
doesn't
scenes-
catch all the other stuff that we don't see.
Behind
all
the
those other
scenes
things
and
that I
stuff like
believe
that.
that were said to him.
Oh,
Calling
I'm-
him
I'm-
a fag, not all of you are, but just directly him. You
Oh,
know?
I'm sure. I'm sure because there's a lot of anti-gay NFL players and coaches and all of that stuff. But through the years, they seem to be changing and
Right.
putting more people on staff. They are openly gay and things like that. So, it's a different animal playing in a team like that where last we talk about Martina. Martina was an individual sport. You know, it doesn't like she needed to share locker or things like that. Because when he first came out, the NFL was even talking about having his own locker room.
Right.
What kind of crap is that?
Yeah.
So, but
But he did have support, though. It's not like he
Yeah,
was
some.
by himself in this movement. There was people reaching out.
and a lot of people were pulling out for him, and there still are. And it's sad to see something like that go down. But in the other side, with Darren Young, everything has been different. Because Darren Young had got a lot of support with the
He had
WWE.
tons of support. That's the big difference. And you would think in wrestling, it being two men, usually in some sort of spandex speedo, touching on each other, very well oiled. I'm a big fan of wrestling, might I say.
Oil? Did you say oil? He's going to the gutter, people.
I've been there. No. But my point is, you think that would make them a little more uncomfortable that he might be getting some sort of
frisky,
like,
right?
a free
Yeah.
fill up or something. But there was no backlash.
What-
Why was there such a big backlash for Michael Sam when they're playing with pads and you're tackling someone and you get off of them immediately? He wouldn't tackle or sack the quarterback as he was doing in the training. He sacked his quarterback several times. You wouldn't lay on top of them as you would do. There's no pinning down. So why is there such a huge? I mean, of course, wrestling's acting, but
But you still have to hold
You
people
still
in
have to
some
touch each
positions
other.
that are very
Exactly.
compromising.
It's touchy-feely, yeah.
so I think, like I said, I think there might have been some serious anti-gay slurs that were thrown at Michael Sam in this locker room, walking outside. Who knows?
Oh, of course.
Fans, you can't control what the fans do.
Right.
So, and
You
you
think-
also go ahead.
Oh, not to cut you off. Do you think the fans of wrestling were more accepting than the fans of football?
Well,
I mean-
I think, I'm sorry, I think that it has to do with the organization. I think that wrestling has always known that they had gay wrestlers, but they never came out. Like NFL has known that there's a lot of gay players,
Right.
but they're afraid to come out. It's
Yeah.
the same thing.
There-
Yeah, there's been quite a few wrestlers that have come out, but the active one is just him right now.
Right.
And the funny thing is that the WWE was going to create a gay character for him. So they went to him and they told him, we have this idea of creating a gay character.
Yeah.
And he was like, but wait a minute, I'm already gay. So,
that's
so
it.
what you trying to do to me? So,
I mean,
I
how
think-
much would they alter that
Right,
action figure of him, like...
but it's pretty cool to have your own action figure and
Yeah.
being gay. And I mean, how much of a difference have they made for our community? That's what we're talking about because it's Black History Month. And at the end of the day, that's what they have created. They have created a better community. But yeah, I think, it's hard. It's hard to be in those positions. Even as the WWE been managing that, how they were going to proceed, and immediately John Cena came out and support and all of them. So yeah, it's
Because it's really not a big deal. At the end of the day, it's not a big deal. So if someone as masculine as John Cena can come out and say, I support my fellow wrestler and him coming out as who he is, nothing to do with his skill set, none of just the fact that, okay, behind closed doors you do something that I don't personally do. But that has nothing to do with anything else that, his wrestling ability. And I think that's what the big problem is that we always try and zero in on he's gay. That's a very small part of who I am and who he is.
Oh, wow.
So there's many other things that go into making him as a person, and then there's that fraction of him being gay. That is all. That I still like video games like most other average boys. So I think that's where we need to focus in on, and I would like to bring it to Manny Pacquiao actually, because I have a couple of things to say about him as well.
Let's go there, because I mean, we are
for this.
a lot of people. We all been waiting all day for this. Even Jason Collins threw him under the bus and stuff. So there's been a lot of gay people coming out and really bashing him. But I mean, what do you guys think? His comments, first of all, to come out and say the gays were like animals, and then to kind of apologize, but really not apologize. And then Nike drops him, and the following day, he's saying that we should be dead. In another words. So, what is your guys' opinion?
I don't think he meant it like that. It was taken out of context. Because think about it. He's a member of the Philippines House of Representatives, and
no, that's why he said it, because he wanted that right-wingers to vote for him so he could get that seat. And he has that seat, and now he's running for a bigger seat.
Why would he ruin his image like that, though?
Because that's exactly what we were talking the other day, that's what politicians do.
When I was reading an article about Manny Pacquiao and his decision to say the things that he said, the first thing that what he said that brought the big, when Nike severed him, is when he said in his own language, those in gay relationships are worse than animals. Not only is that a comparison of gay people to animals, it's an immediate you're less than, implying worse. So in his own language, that is what he said. There's no out of context for that that statement. Now, as far as his apology goes, I believe that was also very half-assed. That picture, if you go and look for it on your own time, it's not. There's no sympathy in that picture at all. And then the caption behind it, the thing that killed me is, "I'll pray for you." I would like to pray for him and the things that he says, because for you to compare us to animals and say that we're worse than them. Not that gay people should be compared to animals in any sense of the word, and we've done this before.
I don't think anybody
who's a human being should be compared to animals. Only animals should be compared to animals. But he decided to do that, not realizing that some animals do take part in homosexual relationships. Not going to say a whole lot about that.
If you go to the internet, there's videos already attacking Pacquiao.
If you also go to the internet, you'll see that there's a lot of support for him as well. On his pictures in English, I read several comments that were in complete support that he should not be feel bad about what he said. And that's totally fine if that's what you want to do, but let's not deny that that's what he said and that's what he meant.
You're absolutely right, because I saw people talking and bashing Jason Collins for attacking him. So they were defending him, and I was like, whoa, what's going on?
He does
you have a different opinion.
Yeah,
you think he...
I don't think he meant harm by it, in all honesty, in my opinion. He was trying to make a point. His words that he used weren't the best at all in any aspect. He should not compare anyone to animals, but he should have went about it in a different manner. You know, there's many different ways to get your point across. And also, he has a lot of supporters, too. In 2 hours, he got 18,000 likes. You know, but I'm not supporting what he said. I'm just justifying the fact that everybody has an opinion, but he shouldn't be condemning, homosexuals for their choices.
I would like to say that he did go on and say in his a few days later, in his own words, that he's not condemning the LGBTQ community, but the act itself. So the act of two men going to bed to each other, the act of two women going to bed to each other, the act of whatever somebody's deciding to do in their threesome, going to bed with each other, is the act. As I said before, that is what makes me gay. The fact that I will go and do whatever I do with, I'm not going to get into that, obviously, but my point is that's what makes me gay. So if you're condemning that act, you're condemning me at the same time. So there's I really don't see how we can even, his promoter did a pretty good job on trying to put a spin on it, on trying to clean it up and make sure he didn't lose all of his endorsements, because if Manny Pacquiao loses his money, that promoter's going to be broke too. So he did a pretty good job on trying to spin it, but there is no denying what he said. And if that's what Manny Pacquiao feels, then that's okay. But I just would like the world to recognize that there is tons of support in agreement that we, as a gay community, should be put to death. That's where the problem is. I don't care about his one position besides he's running for something in politics, but that can be handled when it comes to voting. But he has a lot of support for the things that he said.
But I think he's appealing to people. I might agree a little bit with Omari, as I don't want to agree with him. but
Everybody's entitled to their
I
own
might agree a little bit on you, but I mean, I think he was all out of line. You can't play. It's like playing with fire.
Right.
You're asking all of your income to just disappear. Just like that, for some stupid comment that you write that he could have worded different and stuff like that. But he went hardcore. And now he's getting the repercussions are going hardcore. You know, because before people used to walk all over us and say whatever they wanted, and it was nothing. But now you see the NFL finding players, the NBA finding players, the National Baseball League finding players. Even soccer teams are finding the teams if the crowd says something gay to the players. So, you know, it has come a long way for him to take us back to the same place.
I think that his statement, I'm not arguing his opinion. I'm not. What I'm arguing is that his statement, his opinion is showing how backwards some people are still thinking. He's not that old. And like I said, there's a lot of support for it. That's where the problem is. It's not his opinion, but how many people are supporting him, how many others think like that I should be put to death.
He's a Christian man, and a lot of Christians, unfortunately, they have that closed-minded way of thinking.
That's fine, but don't tell me that I can't be upset and in a rage about it.
I think he's loving that part.
I think he's loving every minute of it.
He's having a fight coming up soon. So I'm thinking that he might have trying to throw a spin. But I'm thinking, okay, if that was your spin, that was kind of stupid to lose Nike as a sponsor.
But he said that he wasn't that sad about it.
Right. But
he said he respected their decision to sever him because of what they believe in. And he wasn't that sad about it simply because his contract was almost up.
But look at even Mayweather, they're so anti-gay himself.
But he's never. Has he ever come out and say anything?
There's a lot of stuff that he has said before, but not so outrageous as Pacquiao. He had to kind of get in touch with Pacquiao and say, "What are you doing, man? We just had a fight, and it was the more money made of any fight in history of boxing, and they're supposed to have a rematch, and now he's fucking it up all that rematch with this. Pardon my language, but that's what he's doing. Correct."
Right.
So even him is like, wait a minute, fool. What are you doing?
Right.
You're screwing the money. So at the end of the day, so at the end of the day, it's the green what we're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of entertainers that do that. You know, bad exposure is good exposure.
Right.
You know that whole spiel.
Right.
And I feel like he shouldn't have said what he said. He can't take it back, even though he apologized. Even though he had time to think about what he said, it was a little bit too late.
Yeah, a little bit too late. And I mean, we can go on and
we could,
talk more about KMB because I know you're very angry.
No, I'm not.
So,
I mean, I am aggravated at the fact that we can't seem to understand that he's not even all that intelligent for me to even try and waste my time on. He opens his mouth and none of his facts always make sense.
I think.
So, I mean, say what you want to say about him and that he's a great fighter. And I actually am kind of hurt because I liked him as a boxer before he opened his mouth about it. As a boxer, he's great. He should stay out of politics because he doesn't know what he's talking about.
He's been champion 8 different times in 8 different ways.
I didn't say he was a bad boxer.
He set the bar pretty high, but I think he also put his foot on his mouth this time.
Yeah, he dug a deep hole,
and not to get out of it. It's because more people are coming out against him and attacking him,
right. And
this is only going to get worse before it gets better for him.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, I don't know.
Well, let the revolution be televised.
Because I sure want to see it, man. I want to, because I think that's what's happening. He was so popular and so good. That's why he has all this support.
I would like to say that there was a comment by a girl. I didn't get to finish the entire comment. It was long. But she was trying to not plea to Pacquiao, but try and make him understand her pain of hearing those things fly out of her mouth. She was a huge fan of him, and then to hear something as so small that separates them, the fact that she likes women as well as he does, makes him think that she should be put to death. That's hurtful.
And she's one of the biggest comedians down there. And she came out and said...
I don't know if it's that.
Yeah.
It was just a random girl, but okay.
No, it was one of the biggest comedians that came out, and she's openly gay, and she basically told them.
Right.
So,
You know.
since he came out and apologized, do you think he should be condemned for standing by what he believes in?
No, I don't think he should be condemned for what he believes in. I just think that if he's going to have an apology, he should do the right kind of apology.
Right.
You can't do an apology and then slap us back down like that. You can't do that. If you're going to do an apology, come forward and do your apology the way you're supposed to do.
Right.
Right? So,
I just think he shouldn't have said an
And
apology
that-
because he didn't mean it. If he didn't mean his apologies, don't give one. I'd be more happy if you didn't give me an apology instead of lying to my face and then throwing salt in my wound.
well, this will be to be continued. So, don't come back next week, same time, same channel. Probably not the same people. And don't forget to email us at wehosportsshow@gmail.com or, tweet us at Weho Sports. Or you can watch us on YouTube, Weho Sports channel. So, thank you very much and see you later. Hasta la vista.
Adios.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Sayonara.